Hey people, welcome back to Cybernetics. So in today's video, we'll be learning how to take inputs and how to display them, and also we'll learn some conditional statements along with them. Okay, so now let's get started. We don't, as I've already said in my previous video, we do not need any kind of header files or main functions in this. Let's just print a normal statement, print enter a number. Let's see what this does. So it's printing enter a number. Now I want to take an input. How do I take an input? X is equal to, this is really simple. You just need to write input and then open bracket and then close bracket. So this is what it is. Okay, now let's run it. Enter a number. Now it's accepting an input 5. Okay, why is it not displaying? It's because we haven't given any print statement yet. Now let's try to print the input that we've taken. It's really simple. You just need to write print and then X. Now I'll give the same value, which is 5. And now we got the same output which we have given as input 5. So this is how input works in Python. Okay, now there's something that I have to tell you. This input function takes every value as string by default. So even if you enter a number, it will be taken as string. Even if you enter a float value, it will be considered as a string. So if you have to accept a value uh, uh, according to your specification, then you'll have to alter it. So now if I want this value to be accepted as an int, then all I have to do is just write int over here, open a bracket and close the bracket after input. Now I'll run the function. There'll not be any difference, but I'll show you the difference later. Enter a number 5. We're getting 5. By the way, if you don't want to add an extra line over here, just you can remove it and type it inside the input function. This is like a prompt in JavaScript. So what prompt does it? It'll have an empty space where you can give an input, and it'll have some written statements inside it. So enter a number, and now I'll run the function. So it's working exactly the same. There's no difference. It'll act as a prompt. Now moving ahead. Now let's move ahead to conditional statements. Now that we are accepting an input, let's try to print the value only if it is greater than 5. So what we have to do is if x is greater than 5, and then we have to give this. Okay, now let's run the program. We're getting an error. What error is it? Indentation error. So what is an indentation? Indentation is a way of telling the Python interpreter that the group of statements belong to a particular block. I'm sorry. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to give a space. It can be 2 spaces, 3 spaces, it can be anything, but it has to have some space after the condition. So what this tells the Python interpreter is the lines which are following the same gap. I gave one gap to this, so if I give one more gap and then print anything, both of these lines belong to this statement. So if x is greater than 5, then both of these lines will get executed. So that's what it means. So but okay, we're getting you understood what we're doing here, but what is actually happening? So when we take an input, if it is greater than 5, it'll print this value. If it's not, nothing will happen. Now there's no error. Now I'll give the input. I'll give 6. We got 6. And then I'll run the program again. Now I give 4. Nothing is being displayed. Now I give 5. Even now nothing is being displayed. So what do we have to do to get the output when the number is 5? Okay, now if it is if it has to be 5, what we have to do is we need to write lf and then indentation print equal to 5. By the way, I forgot to specify the condition itself. X is equal to 5. It's not equal to is a assigning operator. We have to give a double equal to. So now if I give 6, it will print 6. And if I give 5, it's equal to 5. So when it is equal to 5, this particular line will get executed and then we'll get this output. Okay, now what if we give a value which is not 5 and it is not greater than 5? Example 3. We're not getting any output because it's not satisfying any of these conditions. Okay, so now we can't just add else lf for everything, right? It can be negative, it can be 0, it can be lesser than 5. So what we'll do is we'll just write else and then indentation again. Don't forget indentation. People consider indentation to be a big headache, but it's not really, because it's helping you skip curly braces in all that thing. So I would say this is really easier, but you just have to get used to this. Now I'll print this, print lesser than 5. Now run the program again, enter a number 2, lesser than 5, as I've already said. Okay, now let me explain what this int does. Now if I remove this int and I run the program, enter a number 3 here. So as I've said, we've got an error. The error is greater not supported between instances of string and int. This is because x is considered as a string. As I've already said, input, whatever value that input takes, by default it'll be treated as string. So what we have to do is just add int. That's it. So now if I write 5 equal to 5, and it's working normally. So that's it in today's video. We'll come back with more such content. Stay tuned to the channel, like, share, and subscribe to the video. That will be really support. Thank you.